I'm not gonna lie to you, they're fucked. Because Homelander really said, think, Ryan. If you thought Homelander was unhinged before, he quite literally in this episode said, hold my breast milk. Because normally after an episode like that, I would say I need a therapist, but nah, dog, Homelander needs a therapist. But if you couldn't already tell, I just finished watching episode 3 of The Boys season 5, and a whole bunch of crazy shit happened this episode. I'm gonna be recapping and reviewing the episode with spoilers, so this is your spoiler warning. You have been warned, but either way, me and you know what we gotta do. We gotta talk about it. First things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. But for real, let's address the elephant in the room. Or should I say, the laser-eyed seed of Homelander in a Russian black site. Cause guess who's back? Ryan's back. Cause we start off this episode with Ryan dropping bodies, slicing through soldiers like a hot knife through butter, while actively apologizing for it in the moment, but he can't be seen. But the craziest part is when Ryan finally steps up to his daddy and Homelander. He finally steps to Homelander and says, you took advantage of my mom, and that's the only reason I'm here. And you got Homelander over here lying. Homelander, you lie a lot. I kind of like that. Saying she came on to me type shit. It's no wonder Ryan wanted to throw them damn hands. But when Ryan gets one good lick in on Homelander, he didn't like that. Not one bit. Because Homelander starts beating the dog shit out of his own seed. I mean, the sheer brutality of it had me getting flashbacks to season 1 of Invincible. It was legit the why did you make me do this? Think, Mark, all over again. But this truly shows just how unhinged Homelander is, because he has no one that really fucks with him anymore, not even his own flesh and blood. He's slowly slipping further and further away from his own, whatever you want to call, semblance of humanity. He doesn't want an heir or family anymore. He just wants to be worshipped like a god. Which brings us to that Madeline Stillwell hallucination, because that shit was crazy. I wonder if this has to be Old Father's power, right? But what I love is this confirms a theory that I have had since that first trailer, because she's been living rent-free in that fractured brain of his, and she convinces him to take V1 to become an immortal god. Which, to rewind a little bit, I love how they bring Soldier Boy back into the public spotlight by just blaming everything that he did on Starlight. But Homelander couldn't even let his dad get his own moment, as he reveals to the public that Soldier Boy is his dad. But with that, we get some test results back, and we find out that the reason he's not as strong as Soldier Boy is because Soldier Boy took V1, and Homelander doesn't have that in his system. When he was an embryo, he actually was injected with the other formula, and that's why the virus didn't work on Soldier Boy, and it most likely will still work on Homelander. So now this entire season is going to be a race to who can get to V1 first. But I love what this does to Homelander, and Anthony Starr's acting is just top tier, because he heel turns from being an insecure little baby with gray hair to a megalomaniacal psychopath. Meanwhile, Billy Butcher's master plan is falling apart. Why? Because Zoe Newman, of all people, you gotta love how the karma comes back, sneaks away with Kimiko and Frenchie when they go to check up on Samir, which is her dad, and she tells him the truth, and Samir and her scorch the little lab they have going on in the elementary school. And I love the moment when Kimiko steps to Frenchie, who's about to shoot him, because it shows just how honorable and respectful Kimiko is, and how much she wants a life like that, as she lets Samir and Zoe go. I also really love the way they're folding in the Gen V lore, and not so subtly setting up that backdoor prequel pilot for Soldier Boy in the past. We got my dog Giancarlo Esposito, Gus Fring himself back as Stan Edgar, dropping bars as always, and Maverick, Translucent Sun, which causes Huey to go down a little guilt trip rabbit hole. He even tries to give him his own little with great power comes great responsibility line. Huey, you are not Uncle Benlo, bro. Maverick is gonna find out, which he does thanks to the Deep. Funny, him rolling around in a Cybertruck listening to Limp Bizkit is the funniest